The video begins with calm music and the camera slowly zooms in on the busy streets of London. People are walking, cars are moving, and thousands of lives are happening all at once. But in the middle of all that noise and rush, sometimes a star is quietly working in a place no one expects. Today's story is about someone like that. A receptionist. Just a regular worker behind a desk. But the moment she stepped on the X Factor UK stage, everything changed. Her voice wasn't just good. It was unbelievable, powerful, emotional. A voice that didn't match the ordinary life she lived. A voice waiting to break free. Before we get into her unforgettable moment, welcome back to the channel. Here, we highlight the most incredible talent moments from around the world, and today's story is something truly special. And yes, Simon Cowell plays a huge role in this journey. Known for his high standards, tough decisions, and world-famous reactions, Simon is someone who doesn't get impressed easily. But what happened during this audition left even him staring in shock. The story begins in a small office building where our singer, a quiet receptionist, worked every day. She answered phones, greeted visitors, smiled politely, and handled paperwork. No one passing by her desk knew what she carried inside. No one knew that she practiced singing during her breaks. No one knew that music was the one dream she always kept alive even when life got busy, stressful, and full of responsibilities. She wasn't someone who had managers or producers helping her. She wasn't someone who had expensive studios or vocal training. She simply had a dream, a voice, and the courage to finally take a risk. When she arrived at the X Factor UK venue, she looked nervous but determined. She stood in line like everyone else, surrounded by singers with huge personalities, dramatic outfits, and loud confidence. Yet she stood quietly, clutching her audition number. She didn't want attention. She didn't want people to look at her. All she wanted was one chance to sing. One chance to show Simon Cowell and the judges what she could do. Backstage, one of the crew members asked her what she did for a living. She replied softly that she was a receptionist. The crew member smiled politely, expecting a simple performance. After all, no one imagined a receptionist would walk on stage and deliver something world-class. But that's the magic of talent shows. The people who look ordinary are often the ones who shock everyone the most. Finally, her moment arrived. She walked onto the stage, greeting the judges with a shy smile. Simon Cowell immediately leaned forward, studying her carefully. His expression was neutral, as if he wasn't expecting much. He asked her about herself, and she explained her job and her love for singing. The audience listened quietly. Some people whispered. Others simply waited to hear if she could really sing. She took a deep breath, held the microphone tightly, and then nodded at the music team. The music started, and from the very first note, everything changed. Her voice was powerful yet soft, emotional yet controlled. It was the kind of voice that felt like it came from someone who had lived through struggles, hopes, heartbreak, and dreams. Simon Cowell, who usually reacts slowly, raised his eyebrows instantly. His eyes widened. His expression changed from neutral to impressed. He whispered something to the other judges, and they nodded in agreement. The audience sat frozen for a moment, shocked by the unexpected talent coming from someone so humble and soft-spoken. Then, as she rose into the chorus, the entire room erupted in applause. People stood up from their seats. The energy in the room changed. This wasn't just a good audition. This was a moment no one expected. As she reached the final notes of the song, delivering a powerful high note that echoed through the hall, Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, completely blown away. When she finished singing, the entire audience stood up and cheered for her. It was a standing ovation that lasted long enough to bring tears to her eyes. She covered her face, overwhelmed by the love, the applause, and the realization that she truly had something special. Simon Cowell was the first to speak. He told her that her voice was one of the most unexpected surprises of the season. He said that people like her remind him why he loves creating shows like X Factor. He praised her humility, her authenticity, and her courage to follow her dream despite living a simple, busy life as a receptionist. He said her performance was proof that talent can come from anywhere, and sometimes the biggest stars are hiding in the quietest places. Other judges echoed his words, calling her brilliant, unique, and unforgettable. The audience continued cheering as she received a full set of yes votes. She didn't just pass the audition. She became one of the most talked about contestants of the episode. People watching at home replayed her performance thousands of times, sharing it online, writing comments about how her voice touched their hearts. Fans searched for her story, wanting to know more about the receptionist with the unbelievable voice. From that moment on, her life changed. She returned to work the next day with her coworkers cheering for her, telling her how proud they were. People who walked into the office recognized her from the show. Some even asked for selfies. She felt shy, but deep inside, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: hope. Real hope that her dream wasn't impossible anymore. The reason her story touched so many people is because she represents anyone who has a dream but feels stuck in an ordinary life. Anyone who thinks their moment will never come. Anyone who has talent but keeps it hidden because of fear or lack of opportunity. Her story reminds us that you don't need fame, money, or connections to shine. You just need courage. And the moment she stepped on that stage, her courage changed everything. Even Simon Cowell mentioned later in interviews that her audition was one of the most surprising and emotional performances of the season. He said he respected her determination and her simple personality. He said that sometimes the people who don't believe in themselves are the ones with the most extraordinary gifts. As the competition continued, she kept improving. Week after week, her fanbase grew. Her confidence grew. She learned how to perform with emotion, how to connect with the audience, and how to stand proudly on stage. She showed that talent doesn't require perfect training. It just requires heart, discipline, and passion. Her journey also inspired millions of viewers who worked everyday jobs just like her. Teachers, shopkeepers, taxi drivers, cashiers, students, and office workers. People who felt overlooked suddenly felt seen. They realized that their dreams were still alive. That it's never too late to take a chance. By the end of her time on the show, she had proved something powerful. She didn't need to win the entire competition to win the hearts of the audience. She had already made her mark. She had already shown the world what she was capable of. And Simon Cowell, who started out not expecting much, ended up being one of her biggest supporters. Her story continues to inspire people today. Her audition is replayed on social media again and again because it reminds viewers that greatness can come from anywhere. That a simple receptionist can shake the entire world with a single performance. That a voice beyond belief doesn't need a glamorous beginning to create a legendary moment. And that is the beauty of talent. That is the beauty of courage. And that is the beauty of unexpected stars. The weeks following her audition were unlike anything she had ever experienced. Her life, which once moved quietly from day to day, suddenly felt bright, loud, and full of excitement. Every morning she walked into the same office where she had worked for years, but everything felt different now. People rushed up to her just to congratulate her. Some brought flowers. Some brought little cards. Others simply smiled at her with genuine pride. She wasn't just the receptionist anymore. She was the receptionist everyone was talking about. Her audition clip had gone viral overnight. Millions watched it, commented on it, and shared it across social media. People wrote things like, "This voice is from heaven," and "How has the world not discovered her before?"
You're about
and "This
to
is
witness
why I
one of the
love
most
shows like
unforgettable
X
voices
Factor."
ever to walk onto the X Factor
Teenagers,
stage.
parents, Older
performance
people,
that
and
stayed in the
music
minds of
lovers from
millions.
around the
A
world
moment that
celebrated
didn't
her
just
talent.
earn applause, but
What
earned
touched
emotion,
her the most were
silence,
the
and the
messages
kind
from
of
people
respect
who
only
said
a
she
true
had
artist can
inspired
inspire.
them to try again in
Today,
their own
we
lives.
take you inside the story
People
behind
who
one
had
of the
given
most
up singing.
breathtaking auditions
People
in X
who had
Factor
stopped
UK
painting.
history.
People
Get
who thought
ready,
their
because
dreams
once
were
you
too
hear the
late.
voice of Lauren Platt,
Suddenly,
you will never
she
forget
realized
it.
her courage had
Music
started a
dips
ripple
slightly,
effect
making
far bigger
space
than
for the
she
story.
expected.
It begins on a date
Meanwhile,
just like any other
inside
in the
the
long
X
audition
Factor
line.
world, the competition
Thousands
was
stood
heating up.
behind barricades, holding
Contestants
audition
with big
papers, adjusting
personalities,
outfits,
huge
sipping
stage
water
presence,
bottles,
and
practicing
famous
notes
level
under their
confidence
breath.
were getting ready
But
for the
among them
next
was a young
round.
girl who carried a
Many
smile
of
that
them
didn't
already
feel
had
nervous, a
experience
calmness that
performing
didn't
on
match her
stage,
age, and a
something
focus
she
that made
didn't
her seem
have.
almost carved for the
She
stage
felt
she was
nervous
about to step
walking into
on.
the rehearsal
Lauren
studio for
Platt,
boot camp.
just a teenager,
She saw
but speaking
singers
with the
warming
energy
up
of
with
someone who
perfect
had lived an
control.
entire life
She saw
inside
dancers
music.
stretching,
The camera
vocalists
drifts toward the
practicing
backstage
harmonies,
area,
and
where the
confident
lights are warmer,
contestants greeting
dimmer,
each
and the
other with
reality of the
loud,
moment feels
happy
heavier.
energy.
You can
She
hear the
sat
buzz
in the
of
corner,
production teams,
quietly
the distant
watching,
echo of another
wondering if she
contestant
truly
singing, the
belonged.
shuffle of the stage floor being
Simon
adjusted,
Cowell
the
walked
soft
in
hum
to
of
speak to
Simon's
the
microphone being
contestants.
tested.
The room suddenly
Lauren
fell
stands
silent.
waiting, her hands
Even the
clasped
most
lightly in
confident
front of her,
performers
swaying
respected his
gently from left to
presence.
right.
Simon
Not in
began by
fear,
telling them
not
that
in
the
panic,
next round
but in
wouldn't
deep
be easy.
concentration, as though
He
she was
reminded
replaying
them
her
that this
performance
stage
in her
wasn't
mind
just
before it
about
ever
good
happened.
voices but about
She
star
gives a quick
potential,
smile to the crew
emotional
member calling her
connection, and the
name.
ability to
The
grow.
kind of smile
As
someone
he
gives
spoke,
when they know
he
something
scanned
big
the
is
room,
coming but still
and when
want to
his
stay
eyes
grounded.
landed on her,
She
he
steps
paused for
toward
a
the
moment.
stage entrance, takes a
He
deep
remembered
breath,
her
and with that
audition
single
clearly.
breath, the
He
entire world of her
remembered how
future is
shocked
right
he
there in
was.
front of her.
And even in that
The audience
crowded
noise
room,
rushes into
she
the
felt
speakers as
seen.
the doors swing
When
open.
it was her turn to
She
rehearse
walks
with the
out with a
vocal
grace that
coaches,
makes the
she was
entire room
honest
slow
about her
down.
fear.
The judges
She
look up.
admitted that she
Simon
didn't have
Cowell, with
professional
his
training.
signature lean-back
She
posture
admitted
and
she had
penetrating
only
gaze.
sung in her
Cheryl
room,
with her
in the
bright,
shower, and
encouraging
during work
expression.
breaks.
Mel B watching with
The coaches
curiosity,
smiled
and Lewis with
warmly
his
at
calm
her,
mentor-like
telling her that
presence.
raw talent
They
like hers was
immediately take
rare.
notice, not of
They
her
worked
voice
with
yet,
her
but of her
patiently,
energy,
helping
her
her
composure,
understand
her
how
gentle
to
confidence.
control her breath, how to
Simon gives
protect
the
her
first
voice,
question,
and how to
as he
use
often
emotion
does.
without
Tell
losing
us your name.
stability.
Lauren Platt.
She
How old
practiced
are
for
you?
hours,
17.
determined to
And
prove
what are
she
you here to
wasn't
do
just
today?
a one
I'm
audition
here to
wonder.
sing, and hopefully
The
to show
next
you who I am
performance
through
day
my voice.
arrived.
Her
The
tone is
stage
polite,
was bigger.
soft,
The
but
lights
controlled.
were brighter.
Simon
The
raises
judges
a
looked
brow,
more
sensing that
serious.
she may be something more
Contestants
than
were
just another
eliminated one
contestant.
after another.
Cheryl
When
gives
her
her a
name
warm
was
smile
called,
that
she
silently
walked
says,
on
"You
stage
got
with
this."
trembling hands but
And
a
then the
steady
track
heart.
begins. The first
Simon
note she
watched her
releases
closely
isn't loud.
again,
It
analyzing
isn't
every
breathy. It
detail
isn't
about her
trying to
posture
impress.
and expression.
It's pure. It's
She
clean.
introduced
It's
her song
exactly placed,
quietly,
like
and
she knew
once again,
precisely where
no
it
one
should land.
expected the storm
The
that was
audience
about to
leans
come.
in. You can hear a
The
murmur
music
ripple
began
across the crowd as
softly.
they realize
She closed
immediately
her
that this is
eyes,
not an average
exhaled,
audition.
and let the first
Her
note
voice
escape.
glides through the opening line
was
with a
delicate
clarity
but
that
full
rings
of
through the
emotion.
entire
The
auditorium.
audience leaned
It
forward,
feels fragile yet
recognizing the
powerful,
same
soft
magic
but
they had
unshakable.
heard in her
The
audition.
kind of voice that makes
As
people
she
feel something
transitioned
without
into the
even knowing
chorus,
why.
her voice
And for a moment,
blossomed,
even the camera
rising
crew
with the
pauses
kind of
as if they,
strength that
too,
comes from
need to
long
take in the
buried
sound.
dreams.
Cheryl's
You
eyes
could hear
widen
years of
instantly.
longing in her
Mel B
sound,
adjusts her seat.
years of
Lewis
wanting to be
nods
heard,
lightly, already
years of
impressed.
singing behind
But Simon,
closed doors.
the one who rarely reveals
Simon
emotion
folded
this
his
early,
arms and
leans
nodded
forward
slowly,
with genuine
impressed
interest.
by her improvement.
Lauren moves through the
He
next
whispered
lines
to the
with a
judge
natural,
beside him that
effortless
she had
control.
something special,
Her tone
something
shifts
that couldn't
beautifully
be
from
taught.
tender to soulful,
And the audience
building emotion
responded
without
with
ever
loud
pushing
cheers
too
that
hard.
encouraged her
Her
even
hands
more.
stay close to her.
By
Her
the time
posture
she
still
finished
calm,
the
but
final,
inside her voice there is
breathtaking
an
note,
entire
the
world,
entire room
stories,
erupted into
feelings,
applause
memories,
again.
hopes.
She
She
received
sings like
another
someone who
standing
has lived
ovation.
through 100
Even some
experiences,
contestants
even though she's
backstage
barely
wiped
stepping
their
into
eyes,
adulthood.
touched by her
By the
sincerity.
time she reaches the
When the
chorus, the
judges
room has
gave
completely
feedback,
changed.
Simon spoke
It's
last.
no longer an
He
audition,
looked at her
it's a
with
performance.
genuine warmth
A
and
real
told her
one,
that she
the
had
kind of
surprised him
performance
yet
that
again.
deserves a spotlight,
He
not just
said
a
she
judge's
wasn't
panel.
just a receptionist
The
with a
audience
good
begins
voice.
cheering halfway
She
through
was
the
a star
chorus,
in the
clapping
making.
rhythmically,
He
giving
told
her
her
the
that her
kind of
voice had
support
a rare
usually
purity,
saved for finalists.
something that resonated with
She
people
closes her
on a
eyes
deep
briefly
emotional
during a
level.
sustained note.
And he
for that
reminded her
moment,
that
it becomes
confidence would
obvious.
come naturally,
She isn't singing
as
to
long as
impress.
she trusted her gift.
She's singing because she loves
Those
it.
words meant
Because
more to
it's
her
who
than
she
any
is.
applause.
Because music
Simon
isn't
Cowell,
an act,
the
it's her
strictest
language.
judge in the
When
room,
she opens her
believed
eyes
in her.
again, there's a shine in
He
them.
saw something in her
Not
that she
tears,
couldn't even
not
see in
fear,
herself.
just a spark, the
She
spark of
made it
someone
through
who
to the
knows
next
they're exactly
stage.
where they're meant to
That
be.
night, She
The
went
judges
home and
exchanged
cried,
glances.
not
They
because
don't
she
speak
was
yet,
sad,
they
but
just
because
watch.
she finally
The
allowed
entire room
herself to
watches.
feel proud.
Every second feels
She had
suspended in
always
time,
thought
as if
dreams
the
were
show
for other
itself
people.
forgot it had a
She
schedule
had
to
always
follow.
believed she
As
wasn't
she reaches
special
the
enough to
final
chase
note, she
something as
doesn't
big
belt
as
it.
music.
She doesn't explode
But this
into
journey
volume.
had already
She
shown
gently
her
lifts the ending
otherwise.
with a soft,
Her voice
emotional
wasn't
run that
small.
sends chills
Her
across
dream
the room.
wasn't silly.
It
And
lands
she wasn't
perfectly,
invisible
and then
anymore.
the music fades
As
out.
she
For a
progressed
full
further
3
in the
seconds,
competition,
no one moves.
she began to
The
see how much
silence is
she had
heavy, but
changed.
beautiful. That
She
kind of
started
silence that
walking with a
happens
little
when
more
everybody is
confidence.
processing what
She
they just
started
felt.
believing in her own
Then
decisions.
suddenly the audience
She
erupts.
started choosing
Cheers,
songs
shouts,
that truly
applause raining
reflected her
across the
heart.
room.
Songs about
Lauren
hope,
brings a hand to her
strength,
chest,
and overcoming
overwhelmed but
challenges.
smiling with genuine gratitude.
Simon noticed this
Simon speaks
transformation
first,
and mentioned
and his
it during
voice carries that
rehearsals.
unmistakable
He
tone
said
he
she
only
was
uses
starting to
when he
look
knows
like
he's
someone
found
who
something
belonged
special.
on stage.
That was stunning.
Someone who
Absolutely
could build
stunning.
a real
You have
future in
something
music.
incredibly unique.
Her next
Something
performance was
pure.
even more
Something
powerful.
honest.
She
There's an
chose a classic
authenticity in your
ballad
voice that
known
you
for its
cannot
emotional
teach.
depth.
You're not just a
During
singer.
rehearsals,
You're an
she
artist.
struggled with the
Cheryl
hardest
jumps in
note,
with excitement,
feeling
calling
frustrated
her
and
one of the
pressured.
most refreshing and
But
emotional
Simon's
voices she's
advice
heard.
echoed in her mind.
Mel B
He
praises her
once
control,
told her that
her
when she
presence,
sings,
her maturity.
people feel it
Lewis
because she
compliments her
sings from
tone and
real
calls her
experience.
unforgettable.
So
Simon gives the
instead of
final words
focusing on
before the vote.
perfection, she
Lauren,
focused
I
on
think
truth.
people are going to
She
remember your
imagined
name
all
after
the
today.
moments in her life
And
when
then the
she
4
felt
yeses come
invisible,
faster than she
unheard,
can
or
process them.
underestimated.
She covers her
She
mouth,
let those
trying to
memories
contain
guide
her
her
emotions
voice.
as the
On
audience roars
stage,
once more.
she lost
She
herself in
steps
the
off the
music.
stage,
Her
greeted by
voice
her
soared
family
with raw
backstage.
emotion,
They wrap
filling
their
every
arms
corner
around
of the
her,
room.
and for a moment, she's
Even
not
the
an
judges,
X-Factor
who
contestant,
had heard
she's just a
thousands
girl
of
living her
singers,
dream.
felt goosebumps.
But this is where the story
Simon
deepens.
watched her
As
with
the
a proud
competition
smile,
progresses,
shaking
Lauren
his head in
continues to reveal
disbelief
more
at how
sides of
far she
herself.
had come in such a
In
short
rehearsals,
time.
you can see her
Her
dedication.
performance
She
video
listens,
once again
she
went
learns,
viral.
she adjusts.
Comment
She
sections
treats
were
every
filled with
session
love.
like a personal
People wrote
masterclass,
about how her
soaking in
voice
advice
made
like
them
a
cry,
sponge.
how her
Not
journey
because she
motivated
needs
them,
fixing, but
how
because
she
she
was
wants
proof
growth.
that you don't
She
need fame
understands
or
what it
rich
takes to
resources
become an
to
artist
shine.
worth remembering.
All you
During
need
the
is a
live
voice,
shows,
a
she
dream,
begins
and the
carving her
courage to
identity.
try.
She stands
But
out,
with
not with
popularity
flashy
came
outfits
pressure.
or extreme
Some
stage tricks,
contestants
but with her
whispered behind
sincerity.
her back.
Her
Some felt
performances are
threatened by the
emotional
sudden
journeys,
attention
not
she was getting.
showcases.
She
doesn't just
overheard
sing
people
songs.
calling her lucky
She
rather
tells
than
stories
talented.
through them.
Others
Every
questioned
lyric,
whether
every
she could
breath,
handle the
every
big
pause is
stage.
intentional.
These
She has
comments
that
hurt
rare
her
quality,
deeply,
the
but she
ability
didn't
to
let
quiet
them
an
stop
entire
her.
stadium with a single
She
phrase.
reminded herself of
And that
why
is
she
something
came,
only true
to
artists
sing,
possess.
to grow,
One
and to honor
particular
the dream
performance
she had
becomes a
carried for
turning
years.
point. The stage dims to a
Simon
deep
Cowell,
purple hue.
always
A
sharp and
single
observant,
spotlight centers
noticed
on
her
her.
struggling
She
emotionally.
stands in a long,
He
elegant
called her
silhouette,
aside
holding
one
nothing
day
but a
and told her
microphone.
something she would
No
never
dancers,
forget.
no heavy
He
production,
said that in the
just
entertainment
her
world,
voice, and
the
a
moment
nation
you
watching.
start shining,
As she
people
begins
will
singing,
criticize
there's a
you.
crackle in the air.
Not because you're
Something
doing
raw,
something wrong,
deeper
but
than
because
technique.
you're doing
It
something
becomes
right.
the kind of performance
He
that people
told her
replay,
not to let
not
fear or
because it's
jealousy
perfect,
from
but
others
because
dim
it
her
feels
light.
real.
He
Her
told
vocal
her she
control
had a
is
voice that
impeccable,
deserved
but
to
what's
be
more
heard.
powerful is her emotional
Those
connection.
words gave her the
You
strength
can
to
hear her
continue.
heart through every
As
line.
the live shows
Simon watches
approached,
with his
the
hand
stakes
on his
grew
chin,
higher.
deeply moved.
This was the
When the
stage
final note
watched by
echoes
millions
softly
on
through the
television.
air, he whispers
This was
something
where
to
small
Cheryl,
mistakes
something
could
like,
become big
"That's special."
problems.
That's really
Contestants
special.
practiced
The
non-stop.
audience doesn't wait.
Vocal
They're
rehearsals
already
went
on their
late
feet
into the
before the
night.
music stops
Dancers
completely.
perfected their
From that moment
routines.
on, Lauren
Costume
Platt isn't
designers
just a
worked around
contestant.
the clock.
She's a
And
contender.
in the middle
A
of all
name
the
fans
chaos,
chant.
she
A voice
stood
judges
quietly,
respect.
preparing
A
in her
performer
own
the show
gentle way.
itself elevates.
When
Her
the night
journey
of the
isn't
live
about
show
hitting high
arrived,
notes or
she
showing off
stepped
range.
onto the stage
It's
with
about
trembling
creating
hands but
moments.
fierce
Her voice has a
determination.
softness that carries
The
strength,
cameras
a
pointed
gentleness
at
that
her.
feels powerful.
The audience waited
And
in
that combination
anticipation.
is
And
unforgettable.
Simon
As
looked
the
at her with
narrator,
the
the
same
voice
supportive
transitions
expression
back
he
in.
had during
And that
her
is why
earlier
Lauren Platt's
performances.
voice is remembered even
Then
years
the
after
music
her audition.
began. And once
Not because
again,
she shouted,
she
not
delivered
because
something
she showed
unforgettable.
off, but
Her
because
voice
she
didn't
made
just
people feel
sound
something
beautiful.
true,
It felt
something
alive.
real,
It
something
carried every
lasting.
emotion
That is
she
the
had
magic
ever
of a
felt.
voice that stays
Her
with you
growth
long
was
after the
undeniable.
performance ends.
Her confidence was visible. Her presence filled the stage in a way she never imagined possible. And when she hit the hardest note, the one she struggled with in rehearsals, the audience gasped and then burst into cheers. Simon Cowell stood up. The other judges stood up. The crowd rose to their feet. She had just given one of the most powerful performances of the season. Afterward, Simon praised her transformation, telling her she had just proven she deserved to be in the finals. He told her that watching her journey had been one of his favorite parts of the season. His words lit up her heart like nothing else. Her family watched proudly from home. Her coworkers gathered around screens in the office, cheering and clapping. People on social media sent endless messages of love, telling her she had changed their day, changed their mood, even changed their lives. And in that moment, she realized something important. She didn't just have a voice beyond belief. She had a purpose beyond belief. She was inspiring people, connecting hearts, and proving that dreams don't belong to the confident or the bold. They belong to anyone brave enough to try.